the next item, which is presentation, discussion, and possible action regarding a recommendation to the Parks and Recreation Department Director to approve the Central Williamson Creek Greenway Vision Plan. As most of you recall, we addressed this in June, and we decided to table it at that time. So it has come back. So we really appreciate y'all coming back. And I know that we did get some materials, and there were some of our questions that were answered. And so I will just open it up and see if people would like to see the full presentation again, or part of the presentation. I know that Board Member Hugman has not seen that, but if anybody, just if somebody could let me know. In the meantime, I think we have Nicole Joslin with the Community Powered Workshop, and Greg Montes, Program Manager, Claire Edelman Heath, Landscape Architect, and Jessica Sager, Central Williamson Creek Community Working Group. So hopefully we have quite a team here. So anyways, is anybody interested in seeing the full presentation again? I don't see anybody jumping to do that. So let's just go around and see if, I know that not everybody got to ask questions at the last meeting. So this is your time to do that. So I'll go ahead and thank you everybody for being here. And I'll start with you, Board Member DiCarlo. Do you want to start us off?
Sure, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks everyone for coming back to this. I know it's a hot issue, but we definitely want to see, improvements made to this area, to Williamson Creek, and I think everyone has seen just how important it really is to the community and how much everyone really cares about it. I really don't, I don't think I have any questions at this point. I've had a lot of communication with the team and park staff. And yeah, I guess I'd just like to say, I do hope that this vision plan moves forward. It does seem like a lot of work has been put into it, and it does. I know there are some residents who are opposed to certain parts of the vision plan, and maybe how things came about. But it seems like the majority of folks in this area are hoping that it will move forward and increase the amount of use that the trails get and that the creek gets, and improve the environment there as well. So I'll let everyone else ask their questions. So thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Board Member Rinaldi, do you have any questions or comments?
Thanks. No, I don't. I did get to ask questions during the last time this was presented, and I'm still very excited about it, and hope that we can move it forward tonight.
Great, thank you. Board Member Faust, do you have some questions or comments?
I just had one comment. First, I wanted to say thank you to all of the citizens that wrote in and spoke tonight and gave their feedback. And I am hopeful that I think it is a really great opportunity for these communities. My only comment was just to the staff and implementing the vision plan projects. I know that there is a recommendation in the plan for some bonded mulch trails. And I also know it's really important that we find some trail surfaces that make it accessible to a variety of users, especially people, with special physical needs. I hadn't really experienced a lot of bonded mulch until recently. I've been to a few places, new playgrounds that the Parks and Recreation Department has done where the bonded mulch has been put down, and I found it was tearing up real easily, like just a single shoe rubbing across it. And I know that these trails in particular are in an area where we see a lot of flooding and overrunning of the banks. And so I was just hoping that we could have watershed protection look at the appropriateness of bonded mulch in a trail right next to a creek like this, where we are going to see any of that mulch that comes apart is going to just wash right into the creek first rain. And as we know, this goes down and, goes into Onion Creek. And it just seemed like maybe, I'm not sure if that is going to work somewhere so close to a creek for a trail, because it was just disintegrating so fast, even though it had just been put down where I saw it. So that's my only comment, if y'all can just visit with Watershed Protection about that.
Great. Did y'all want to comment? Anybody want to comment on that, or?
So I would say thank you for the feedback, and yes, as we go through the different projects and determining the appropriate materials, we will absolutely confer with Watershed Protection to make sure that whatever material is chosen is applied appropriately, provides for ADA access, but does not environmentally harm the space. So thank you for the feedback. We'll do that.
Great, thank you. Okay, Board Member Bernard, did you have any questions or comments?
No questions, but I did want to say that I really appreciated the document that y'all sent with all of our questions broken down and answered, and that was really, really helpful. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Board Member Cotton Seibel.
Thank you. I just want to say, having a chance to look at this really closely, I am excited about the possibilities. I think it's going to take some of the heavy usage off the trail downtown, and will be closer trails for people in those neighborhoods. And I think all that's really good. I think there's been a lot of thought put into it from what I can tell. This is the only silly little question I have, and it really is a semantic question. It came up before and it wasn't really answered, I don't think. But after having watched and gone to visit the Greenway downtown and using Greenway here, I know this sounds like semantics, but I'm just wondering if that could be some of the hesitancy that I hear from people that are worried that this is going to become a gentrification that's going to, cause them to have problems in their neighborhood. So I just wondered if there was thought given to Greenway versus Green Belt, or I think that came up before. I can't remember who asked it. It might have been Board Member Faust, but it was sort of reinforced because someone just the other day said to me something about Waterloo Greenway being a gentrification, and I thought, I wonder if that's some of the concern that I've heard about this project. So I guess I would ask about that semantic question.
Yeah, Board Member, that's a good question. This is Gregory Montes with the Parks and Recreation Planning Division. That comment did come up in our conversation back in May when we discussed this item. And I think that, it is semantics, and the term is loosely used within the planning field. For instance, our 2010 long-range plan for our department used the term Greenway and was used very often in that document. And we were using that as our guiding document for many years until the new long-range plan, which was approved in 2019 recommended by this board and council, changed the term to Greenbelt. I think that in some cases, Greenbelt can for some people, describe a natural area that obviously has a body of water running through it. And there are usually, nature trails and other light, passive recreational amenities that are provided in those environments. When people think of Greenway, the first thing that most people are thinking about now, because it's gotten a lot of coverage, as it should, is the Waller Creek Greenway. I think that some of the comments and confusion that was brought up last time was that some of those neighbors were using it to try to imply that this particular plan was going to look and feel and is very similar to the Waller Creek plan that you obviously went and visited. That's the furthest from the truth. I mean, we are not proposing that. I'm sure you spent time looking over the plan, and those recommendations that were proposed by the community are appropriate for this type of environment. They're all very passive. So I think the term greenway also kind of really demonstrates that multiple city departments, PARD and Watershed, also have joint ownership and management and stewardship of many of the properties that make up this corridor. So I think that the term greenway was also used in that way. But I think, again, it's just semantics. It's not to mean that we are going to make Williamson Creek look like Waller Creek. And I think that's part of the confusion.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Otherwise, I think there's a lot of really interesting stuff here, and I'm excited to see it come to fruition. So thank you for all your work on it.
Thank you. Okay, Board Member Hugman, do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you. I did read through all the letters and the material from last month and just found it all wonderful. I think it sounds like a great plan and loved all the comments from the community. So I'm just learning. I don't have any questions at this stage.
Thank you so much. Oops. And Vice Chair De Palma.
Yeah, no, I can't wait for it. I mean, the Williamson Creek is just such an important area. We look at the lack of accessible, open space and usable space for both active and passive recreation in that area. I think it provides that. I look forward to it crossing Manchac at some point in time, and hopefully, this is that first segment and make its way all the way out to the Oak Hill Y. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, wow. Well, we certainly do not have many questions. I know everybody's really grateful for the work that everybody's done. And I would ask that you just for, if you wouldn't mind, just because community engagement was such one of the paramount issues that we really touched on at the last time we went over this vision plan. And so just for, just so everybody can kind of hear what you had to say, if you could just kind of go over just give me a brief synopsis of what, I know you did it in writing in those questions, and I really appreciate that. But if you could just if somebody could just kind of give us a brief update of what happened between our last meeting and this meeting about the efforts that you put in to increase the community engagement, that would, I'd really appreciate that.
I can provide some. You can go ahead, Greg. I can.
No. Okay. No worries. I don't want to step on anyone's toes here. Go ahead, Nicole. I mean, I know you were going to talk about some engagement.
Well, I was just going to share some information about the engagement that's been done just throughout this whole process. I just heard that conversation about Hancock, and I know that you guys talk about engagement a lot in all of the plans and items that you review. But we did make a really concerted effort to provide a lot of different ways for community members to engage. We provided online tools, hosted in-person events whenever we felt like we could do it safely. We provided take-home activities to people to be able to sort of do at their leisure and then report back to us their feedback. We also distributed door hangers and yard signs, and you guys all saw that tally of the number of folks that we are able to sort of quantify within the best of our ability of who all we were able to at least touch in some way with this process. That since the last Parks Board meeting, we've continued to have conversations with community members or community groups as they've requested. We have not conducted any other public meetings. We have not changed the vision document since that last meeting. We have just sort of continued to communicate with people whenever we hear from them and address their comments whenever we are able to chat with them. So the document that you are considering today has not changed since the last time you considered it in May. And Greg, I don't know if you want to add anything else to that.
Yeah, no, I think that the team certainly tried, and especially Nicole and Watershed tried to respond to any inquiries that any of the neighboring association groups that wanted some questions answered. I know that Watershed staff met with them virtually to make sure that they were addressed, and then they were satisfied and communicated that to staff. So we made sure that no one was left, I guess, left with any type of unresolved concerns or issues that had come forward and approached this planning team. So that's one of the reasons, as Nicole mentioned, that there was not any strong desire or ask from this planning team to modify the plan. I mean, I think that and we started to get some communication from folks that they were going to sign up to speak tonight. So it was nice to see that support, speak at the front end of the meeting, because they realized that they needed to be here. So they took the initiative to reach out to us to notify us that we were going to be hearing from them tonight. So that was good.
Right. Okay. So, but I just do want to clarify. So you did do some more outreach after our last meeting, but whatever the outreach you did and whatever you heard from the community, there was nothing in there that compelled you to make any modifications in the plan. Is that correct? And that was because they were pretty content, or or what they wanted to do wasn't really realistic, or?
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that we received anything that was from the community that we interacted with during this planning process that warranted us having to modify the plan from what it is today. I mean, again, when you look at a lot of the proposed, amenities, they're very appropriate for this type of environment. They're very, very passive. They're appropriate for this type of environment, and those were recommendations that had come forward from the community. They were not developed by us as a planning team. They came from the community. So I think that we were comfortable coming back to this board to have you again review it and then make a recommendation to the director.
Sure. Okay. No, and I think I really appreciate the fact that you guys spent the time to really address every single question that the ones that were able to ask questions, you did that, and we're really grateful for that. I hope you do. As a board member, we hear from community all the time. And so when we ask questions that's like really important to us, because we're the ones who, engage with community on a pretty regular basis. And so we certainly understand that the value of being able to make sure that they're heard, because otherwise it causes problems down the road, and people feel like they weren't listened to, and things, and their opinions weren't respected or whatever. So I know that I know it's a difficult process too. And I know you guys have, I can look and you've documented all the effort that you've put into, and I know you can never make everybody happy. That we all can't do that within our little homes and families. So but I totally get that. But I just wanted to just make sure that just reinforce the importance of that, and just appreciate all the effort that you put into it. So
sure, and I will add to your comment that everyone had an opportunity to come forward and participate in this process, and they did. And you're right, not everyone agrees, and that's the planning process. That's with many of our planning processes. So they're going to have differing opinions, and you can't make everyone happy, but you can give everyone the opportunity to be at the table and to provide that input and that diverse input. And that's what we were trying to do. And when you have diverse input, you have a plan that you can look at and say, we've heard from everyone, and the recommendations that are moving forward are appropriate for this type of environment, and they are. So I think a lot of people had an opportunity, and I think that Nicole and last I guess May's Parks Board meeting showed those type of data points where people were involved.
Sure. And I've been out there, and I know that I'm really happy something's going to happen, because I feel like it's a beautiful area, but it definitely, a nice solid trail, and just, how do I say this? Just it needs some improvement, and I think the community is owed that. And I'd like to see that Parks does go out and make sure they touch all the places within Austin that deserve to be, deserve to have nice park spaces and wild spaces. So I'm glad that we're finally moving forward with that. And I know it's been a little controversial, but we appreciate all the work that y'all have done on it. Okay, so I will, at this point, does anybody like to make a motion to, for the director to, on this Central William Creek Greenway Vision Plan?
This is Anna. I'd like to make the motion.
Okay, so you would like to move to recommend?
Yes.
Okay. And do I have a second? And I have a second from Board Member Hugman. So we have a motion and a second, and everybody in favor, if you could please raise your hand. And we have nobody
Chair,
opposed.
may I get a verbal from Anna, please?
I'm in favor.
I had a feeling she was. So, okay. Thank you. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. Thank you for coming back to see us. All right. Well, we are, we actually might be able to cover our agenda. So possibly. So, and I assume, Greg, that you're going to stick around for the update on the Zilker Metropolitan Park Vision Planning process?
I am. You're not getting rid of me yet.
Okay.